Hi. It's pretty late, but it's not that late. You should get used to my videos looking super dark, because in Estonia right now, by 4 p.m. it's pitch black outside. But you know, I even took a walk today. Usually I am such a vampire, but even I need to feel sometimes that it's been a day instead of nighttime all the fucking time. Today I want to talk about being yourself. I just want to share some thoughts. And this is not really gonna be structured. I mean, this video will have chapters and everything. I'm sure I'll come up with something. But I just wanna talk. I just wanna talk about being yourself. Because one of my friends told me just earlier, they were just expressing about how I am always myself and I do what I want to do. And I follow my own intuition and I don't really listen. I don't really listen to anybody very much. And they were saying that this is, a positive thing. And I agree. Yes, it's a positive thing, but it's just got me thinking about the fact that I think a lot of people want to be that way, but you're, I guess, too scared to be that way, which I get because I have been too. And, even though this friend was saying that this is how I am, I haven't really always been this way. It was only the start of this year. I mean, this year is almost over, but it was only the start of this year where I was just like, you know what? Enough is enough. And I'm gonna fully embody myself to the best of my ability. With this idea that everything that is there, that is here, is here. And I'm just gonna be me. But I haven't always been this way. I can't really say that I have not been myself. But I haven't been fully myself. There's always been something that I haven't been able to fully embrace. And it's the stuff that, I'm sure you have things like that yourself. It's the stuff that makes you feel weird. And makes you feel like an outcast. Or makes you feel like if you were to express these things, you would be an outcast if you're not already. Like people wouldn't accept you. And I think that's such a normal feeling. So I get not being able to express yourself fully. Feeling like you can't. But I think this year, it just finally got to me. I finally realized that you kind of have to be yourself if you ever want to find others who are like you. Others who would get you, who would get the way that you are. You need to be yourself, because if you're not being yourself, then you're always going to be a distortion of who you really are. You're not being you, you're being a distorted version of you. And so then law of attraction is going to bring you people who like that distorted version of you, but that isn't really fully you. And then you're going to have so many of these circumstances in your life where you need to pretend something, or you need to be something. You need to be some type of way that you actually aren't. And you're gonna feel like shit. And then you just get more and more into this space where you can't like easily get out of that, because now you've made this distorted version be who you are, because that's how you feel. And so the people around you who are attracted to this distorted version, it just keeps on feeding itself. So you need to be more and more like that if you want to keep the people around. But it doesn't feel good. You don't feel relaxed. You feel worried, or you feel anxious. Whatever you want to call it, you don't feel good because you're being a distorted version of yourself. And you might be like, well, I don't want to be this version, but if I am myself, then I feel like I'm gonna lose everything. Like that's like being myself is gonna feel even worse, because then I'm gonna be rejected by these people, or I don't know what's gonna happen with my life if I actually start being the me that I have become. So you think that really being yourself, that feels even worse, because it will potentially come with so many losses if you do that. Or being an outcast. And I get that too. And you know where I think that this is coming from for us? Because it's so common. I mean, almost everyone feels this way. I think it's just an evolutionary thing. Like a leftover from those times, because back then we needed to be part of a tribe, and if you were an outcast in some way, you would be casted out of the tribe, and then you couldn't survive, because you couldn't really survive long on your own. So that would be a terrible thing if that were to happen. And so today, I just feel like it's a remnant, this feeling that you have of I can't be myself, or I'm gonna lose everything. It's a remnant of those times where it would have meant death if you were yourself and if you were outcasted for whatever reason. So you still have that feeling inside. And I guess I'm just going to talk about what it feels like to really be yourself. And I don't even have that long of an experience with it, because I feel like it's only really been this year that I have been like fully embodying it, trying to the best of my ability, trying to. But so far, I mean, yeah, I will tell you, it is true. You will probably, whatever version of your life that you're living right now, as this distorted version of you, if you decide to not be that anymore, or you can't be that, I'm assuming that's why you're watching this video, if you're not one of my regular viewers, and you've just ended up here, then you're already, well, I guess I have news for you. You've ended up here because you're already on the path of being the true you, being who you really are, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. Or you are considering it. You've come to this point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. It's not me anymore. Maybe it was me, this distortion, that now is like a distortion. Maybe that was me at one point. It's not me now. And I can't deal with it anymore. I can't be that anymore. So yeah, I will tell you that if you start being who you really are, things have to change. Because that's just how the law of attraction works. If you start being who you really are, and you actually start to feel differently inside, you start to feel actually better. You're not so anxious anymore, but then everything that represented this anxious feeling, it has to go away because you're not a match to it anymore. So yeah, it can mean that situations, either they change somehow to be a match to the you that you're being now, or they have to go away. People do too. Either they will change alongside you, or they have to go away. And that's just because that's how law of attraction works. If you feel differently inside, yeah, everything has to change to reflect that. So if things are falling apart, this is actually what's happening. You feel differently now. So this old stuff has to dissolve. It has to go away so that it can be replaced with the new. And yeah, if you start being who you actually are, very likely that this will happen. But I feel like you just have to ask yourself, like, do I want people and situations in my life in which I have to be something that I am not? Or in which I have to hide parts of myself? Is that actually something that I want? It's exhausting. You know it's exhausting. You don't need me to tell you that. But maybe you're thinking that there is nobody out there who would like the real you. Or if you like started talking about and expressing about all these things that are going on with you or in your head, and you've never done that before. Welcome to my world, by the way. Everything that I have been talking about on this channel lately for the past month or so, I've never really been talking about it publicly, never really. And so you might be scared that like no one will understand that stuff or care about it, or you're gonna be outcast if you start talking about these things. But actually, that's just, I understand the fear, but it's not really what's gonna happen. what's really gonna happen if you actually start embodying who you are. Yes, you might be alone for a while. I'm not gonna lie, you might be alone for a while because things just, they need to shift. And it's not like an overnight thing. But eventually, you will attract new people who get this stuff or who are like you, because that is just how law of attraction works. You have to attract the ones that are most like you, or that who need the stuff that you have to offer. That's what's actually going to happen. And I get it. Maybe you are afraid of this being alone phase. You're afraid of that. I don't know if I am the best person to like ask about that or speak on that, because that is one of my strengths. I've been alone a lot in my life. I know how to be alone. I know how to be with myself. And I don't really need anybody around or anything around to feel some type of way. And this is just a combination of life teaching me this, but also myself teaching me this. You have to embrace it, because it's part of the journey of becoming yourself. And often you have to be alone because you have to figure out what you really want. Because if you have been like people pleasing all your life, you don't really know what you want. Because all of your resources have gone to that. You know what everybody else wants, I guess, maybe, but you don't know what you want. So you gotta reflect on that now. Which means you have to be alone. You have to have no influences around, because if you have influences around, what are you gonna do? People pleaser that you are. I know what I'm talking about because I used to be like this. I know what it's like. What are you gonna do if you have influences around during that phase where you're actually supposed to be alone? If you have influences around, you're just gonna do that same thing again. You're just gonna start trying to please them. And then you really get nowhere, to be honest. So you have to be by yourself for a while. But you have to embrace it. I know maybe it feels scary. You don't want to sit with yourself. You don't want to sit with your thoughts because you know where that goes. And I'm not laughing at you. It's just, I'm almost like trying to make light of it because you know where that goes and you don't like it. But this is the whole point of this being alone phase, is that it's teaching you how to deal with that, with all those things that start to happen. And I just want to add here that, like, I'm assuming that maybe you are interested in the law of attraction in any kind of way because you are watching this channel. Well, I have videos about, stuff that you could do or how you could deal with the stuff that's in your head. Because, you just sitting there, that stuff, all of your demons and everything, that, they're gonna approach you. I'm not gonna lie about that. They are gonna approach you. Because in order to be yourself, you have to get comfortable with them. You have to make friends with them, and you can't run away from them anymore. You just can't do it. Otherwise, you won't ever be yourself. And chances are you have been doing that your entire life anyway, running away from them, and you really can't get anywhere, can you? You can't get away. They keep on following you around. Why? Because they are part of your vibration. This unresolved stuff and feelings about yourself and feelings about the world and feelings about the stuff in your life, it keeps on following you around and manifesting in your life because it's part of you. It's part of your vibration. You can't get away from this. Yeah, you can numb it, I guess, for a while, but it's like you can try and, shut the door in the face of your demons, but they're still going to be standing right there. So, like, numbing yourself is kind of like that. It's just, you're shutting the door in their face, but they're going to be standing right there. They won't go away. At some point, you're going to have to open that door, If you want to be yourself, that is. So anyway, my point is, I feel like I have videos about that, about how to possibly deal with that. And, that's one of the reasons why I have made videos like that, because it's very likely that in this phase where you are alone and you're trying to be more yourself, but it's like a new thing and you still feel pretty shitty, you may not know how to deal with those thoughts in your head. And it would be great, I guess, if you could go do therapy, but my concern, I feel like, is that a lot of people, they just don't have access to that. I just feel like, yes, it's all well and good that those things exist and that these experts are there and they are available and they will help you. And if you can't pay, well, then you're still on your own. And I feel like that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's like the minute you actually need them, you probably don't have the money to go. I have that experience now. The minute you actually would need to go, you can't pay for it. So then what do you do? What do? Do you just drown in that stuff? I don't think you have to. I think you can help yourself. But not by running away from those things. Because then you won't become yourself. So this, it's kind of an aside, I guess, but it's part of the reason I make these videos, because I really do feel like you really can get a hold of your own brain and the thoughts in your own head if you want to, if you understand what's actually happening. Because otherwise, if you don't understand, then yeah, it feels like your thoughts are thinking you and your brain is just doing stuff and you have no control over any of it. That's what it feels like. But I feel like there's a way to understand what's happening. Energetically, what is happening. And this is the stuff that I've been making videos about. So maybe that could help you. Because, that's what I did. I helped myself. In the end, I helped myself with my understanding of the laws of the universe, the law of attraction. It's not only this manifestation thing that everybody keeps talking about. It is that, but it is not the only thing. And you really can help yourself with it if you understand it, if you actually understand what it's about. And it's all about how you feel. It's all about what you're thinking, what your emotions are. That's at the core, at the heart of it all. So you can use it to help yourself. And you don't need to pay anybody. So that's just kind of an aside. But yeah, you have to sit with yourself. There's just tough love, I guess, but that's how it is. And yeah, it doesn't feel nice. It's not gonna feel nice. If you've been people pleasing your entire life and now you're not doing that anymore, you're trying your best not to do that, and then all of your demons approach you and everything, it's not gonna feel nice. Yeah, you're gonna feel like you want to run away from this, but you've been running away your whole life and they don't go away, do they? So it's time to deal with this now. I just don't know what else to say. I have to say it, I guess, how it has been for me. I can only speak for myself. So yeah, it's gonna be difficult, but you can do it. You can do it. And then, once you do it, then what's gonna happen, or at least this has been my experience, you're actually, because now you are being yourself and you're not running away from yourself, you actually end up liking yourself. Maybe for the first time ever in your life. It's actually very interesting. Today, I can say, yeah, I like myself and I like what I'm about. This does not mean that I don't sometimes have some old thing come up or some old belief about myself come up that I then have to work on, or something come up about myself that I haven't embraced. Yeah, those things still come up, and I feel like that's just part of the journey. Maybe they never really will stop coming up. But at least I'm not running away from these things. So this, process of loving yourself, I feel like it's not like you need to be perfect at it. And you never have any new feelings or old feelings come up about things. Yeah, you do. But you can still love yourself. And in fact, I feel like embracing those things and then trying to make sense of them and trying to love yourself even more. That is loving yourself. And so you actually end up liking yourself, and then you end up knowing yourself a lot better. And then that's going to help with this people-pleasing thing, because, as a recovering people-pleaser, I really like this phrase, recovering people-pleaser, because this is what it is. It's like, it will not go away. Yeah, you can always fall back into this. It's like a temptation, I guess. Because, you know, people, they are so loud and they're so in your face. So it's kind of hard to ignore what they want or what they say or what they do towards you. But you know, as a recovering people pleaser, you can't really ever do this again. You kind of have to be like, I'm not gonna people please anymore, and I am not gonna do it anymore. No matter what, I'm not gonna do it. And you have to really stand firm on this. And then if people, you know, they make some kind of face when you like don't please them, or you don't do what they say, or they're, you know, something like that, you still have to stand firm on this. I'm not gonna please you. And I'm not saying that you have to, you know, become some kind of asshole or something and just be mean to people and be a jerk. This is not what this is. It's just, you have to consider yourself first. You have to, because otherwise you don't have anything to give them anyway. Not really. And you don't really want your life to be just made up of these circumstances in which you're just doing things that somebody else wants of you, but that you don't really want, or that isn't really for you. Because it's not what we came here to do. We did not come here to please other people. We came here to create any kind of life that we want. And everybody else is here doing the same thing. But it's just like a misunderstanding that we all collectively have. It's that in order for me to feel better, I need to control all of these people and what they do and what they say. Because otherwise I won't feel good. This is the misunderstanding that we have. The misunderstanding is I don't have the power to feel good unless I'm in control of all of these people and circumstances. And it's not true. You have the power to feel good no matter what. You have the power to feel better, because the only thing making you feel anything is the thoughts in your own head that you're thinking about things. I have videos about that too. So I'm not really going to get into that in this. But it's your own thoughts. And thought is a choice. And you can think a different thought and it's going to give you a different feeling. And it's probably going to take you a while to get that through your skull, guys. Because it took a while for me. It wasn't like, even if I knew it intellectually, I didn't really know it. Because knowing something and knowing something are two different things. One is I just know it intellectually because Kelly here is talking about it. But the other know is I have proved it to myself. So I have the experience. I know that it's the way that it is. You have to prove it to yourself. And it's going to take you a while. But I feel like this is part of the reason you feel like you can't be yourself is because you're afraid of what people think. Right? You're afraid of what their response is going to be to you. But you can't control their response. Even as this distorted version of yourself that is trying to please them, maybe they are pleased sometimes, but really, overall, you can't really do enough. You can't be different enough at different times for them to always be pleased, and therefore for you to always feel good. So at some point, they're not going to be pleased. And then you're kind of in trouble. And they're in trouble too. And so then you're just you're teaching them that in order for them to feel better, you have to be a certain way. And you're teaching yourself that in order for you to feel better, you have to be a certain way. And you have to get a certain response from people. They have to think certain things about you and behave in certain ways towards you. Otherwise, you're not going to feel good. So you're trapping them, and they're trapping you. And most people out there are doing that right now. Because they have this misunderstanding that they have to control things, otherwise they can't feel better. And it's not true. But I feel like in order to be yourself, you really do have to get to this place where you understand that you can't control what anybody's response is to you, because their response is dependent on so many things. It's dependent on their current emotional state, first of all, over which you have zero control. It's dependent on the experiences they have had in life. And I feel like most of all, it's dependent on the thoughts that they think about you in this case. But you don't even really know what they are thinking. What they are thinking can't even affect you. What is affecting you is what you think they are thinking. But you most often don't even know what they're really thinking. And even if this person comes and tells you, I think this about you, it's like, it doesn't even matter if it's positive or negative, because it's kind of like, well, what do you expect me to do about this? About what you think about me? Because your thoughts are your responsibility. I can't think your thoughts for you, and therefore I can't control what you think about me, and therefore I can't control how you feel about me, because how you feel about me is dependent on what you think, what you decide to think about me. And I am not in control of that, and I can't be different in enough ways for you to always have a certain response, for you to always feel a certain way when you look at me. And so I feel like this is something that you have to understand if you want to be yourself, like fully yourself. You have to understand that, yeah, some people are not going to like you. Some people are not going to resonate with this, whatever you are. And you yourself don't even like everybody, do you? And that's the thing. People are allowed to not like you. But you don't really have to be affected by that. We didn't really come here to get validation from others. Other people don't really exist to give us validation. Because, when we came here, we had this understanding that I'm going to validate myself. I'm going to get my validation from where? From source energy or God or, whatever you believe in. I'm going to get my validation from that. I'm going to get my validation from my higher self, my inner being. That's where I'm going to get my validation from. It's not from other people. And this is something that takes a while to understand too, and you have to keep on training this. Like, this is just me, but I too have to keep on training this. I have to keep on reminding myself that this is the way that it is. That, you know, yeah, it's nice if people are responding to you positively, and if they understand you and they get you, and it's nice. It's nice because they are so in your face. They are more in your face than your higher self. Your higher self is something that you have to feel for. You know, they're not like standing here like this. So it's difficult to ignore someone who's standing here like this and telling you things. But you kind of have to do that because you don't want to get validation from others, because then you're going to be dependent on them and what they say. And then it's going to turn into this people-pleasing thing again. And then you're not ever going to get away from it. And your emotional state is just going to be all over the place because others are fickle. And that's not because, you know, I'm judging them or I don't like people or something. I hope you can understand what I mean. I'm just saying that other people aren't here, literally. They aren't here to give you validation. It's like we all understood this when we came here. We were all gonna validate ourselves, and then we were gonna play together with others. But now it's all ass backwards. Now it feels like everyone, to some degree, is trying to please others. Everyone is affected by this same thing, and everyone feels trapped because this mindset, this thinking is trapping you. And because you can't control others, you are always going to feel trapped if you don't start validating yourself. And this validating yourself thing, this is, once again, you have to practice it. You have to keep on practicing this every single day. Every single day, especially as a recovering people pleaser, every single day, you have to take your attention away from what other people are saying or could be saying. You have to even take your attention away from your own thoughts about what you think they might be thinking about you. Even if they're not expressing anything to you, you have to take your attention away from that and put it onto yourself and be like, okay, what does my higher self think about this? What does my higher self think about me? What does my higher self think about what I am about or what I want to do? You know, just like me making this video. Yes, I would like it to be hopefully helpful to someone. But this is not, you know, when I start making any kind of video, this is not the first point that I consider. My first point is, what does my higher self think about this? This idea to make this kind of video. And then I ask myself, is this going to be fun for me to do this? I don't ask myself, what are people going to think about this? I don't ask myself, do people want to see this? Because I'm a recovering people pleaser. So as soon as I do that, I'm just like down that road again. So I can't ever do it. And you know, I don't set out to like disappoint people on purpose or something, or displease them or on purpose. But it's also, that's not my first point of consideration, because it's going to get me off track. And then I'm not going to feel my intuition anymore, and then I'm just going to lose myself. I know, because I've been there, and it's happened before. Several times in my life. And so you just have to go, enough is enough. I know where this goes. If I start people pleasing, I know where this goes. And I know nobody is going to like the destination. I'm not going to like the destination. And these people that I'm trying to please, they're not going to like the destination either. Really, they're not. So, you have to ask your higher self first. What does your higher self feel about you? And what you're about? And get your validation from there. And you have to keep on practicing this. There's just nothing to do. You have to keep on practicing. It only comes with practice. I have to practice this too. Every single day. And yeah, it's difficult because most people are not doing that. Most people are not doing that, and therefore they're gonna think that you're crazy. But the thing is, if you want to be yourself, then you gotta be crazy. You just have to be crazy. And you have to learn to trust yourself and trust your own intuition, because other people are not your guidance system. They can't tell you what's best for you. They might want the best for you, but they can't know what it is because they're not you. And they might want with everything they've got to know what it is, but they're not you. Only you know. And it's just the process. You have to learn to trust yourself. It doesn't come overnight. But really, you can do this. You can teach yourself how to do this, and then you get better over time as you keep on practicing. And eventually you will not really ask anybody to be any different or need them to have some kind of specific response to you, because you will understand that it's not under your control anyway. It's kind of like other people decide how they feel about you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Really, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're not dependent on them for how you feel about you, then that's where that freedom is that you're looking for. But you have to keep on practicing it. You have to keep on practicing turning to your higher self and asking, how do you feel about me? And you can tell by how you feel. If you feel some type of negative emotion when you think something about yourself, then that's not how your higher self feels about you. Your higher self is in disagreement with that. If you think, I'm a loser, how does that feel? Feels like shit, which means your higher self is in disagreement with that. Your higher self is like, no, you're not a loser. You are a fantastical, magical being who came here to create whatever kind of life that they want. So that's how your higher self feels about you. And then you just, this has been my experience, you just get more and more comfortable being that way. And you don't need other people's responses. And even if they say something negative to you, you can feel yourself out of that too. you have to remind yourself that I can't control what they think. Therefore, I can't control how they feel about me. Therefore, I can't control what their response is to me, what they say to me. But I can control how I feel about me. And furthermore, these people they are having some kind of experience with this like projected version of you that's not even really you. If this is not somebody that's, actively in your life and really, really knows you, then they are just experiencing some kind of projection that they are seeing through their emotional state. That's the thing that is like determining what they are seeing as they look at you. Even you, watching this video right now, yeah, you're seeing me, right? But if you're not somebody who's like actively in my life and who really, really knows me, then you are seeing a projection. Like, yes, I am being myself and I'm just expressing the thoughts that are really in my head, but you're still seeing a projection based on your emotional state, based on what you decide to think about me right now as you're watching this video. If you decide to think good feeling thoughts about me, then you feel pretty good about me. Ain't that nice? You feel pretty good about me. You like these videos. Or you like me. But that's because of the thoughts that you're thinking about me. If you were to decide to change your focus to something negative, you would feel differently about me. And some people watching this video, they just don't like this. And even that is because of the thoughts that they are thinking. So maybe they don't like this because it's triggering something in them. So in that case, I'm reflecting something to them about themselves that they haven't resolved in them. So then what they're really doing is they're thinking about that. About this thing that I am reflecting to them, and they're thinking of it negatively, and so then they feel bad, and then they think that it's about me, but it isn't. It's about the thoughts that you think. How you feel is always about that. And other people are just reflections. So really, you want to be yourself, you gotta understand that whatever anybody thinks about you is not really about you at all. They're just having some kind of experience with like a version of you, with like a projected version of you that isn't really you. And it's so dependent on whatever their emotional state happens to be as they look at you. So that can be another freeing thing to realize. They are having their own experience with a version of you. But that's not necessarily you at all. So you're like completely separate from that, actually. But you just have to keep on practicing thinking these things, and then it will become your default. Then that's just how you feel about yourself. And then you actually start to feel better about yourself. You start to feel, you know what, actually, I am not a loser. And I'm not this and I'm not that. Whatever anybody has tried to tell you, because even if someone's tried to tell you something about you, this is still about how you feel about yourself. When I was younger, I used to get bullied in school. And even that was just a reflection of how I was feeling about myself. Was I feeling confident about myself, good about myself? No. And so, therefore, physical reality, manifest reality, showed me this is how you're feeling about yourself. You're kind of bullying yourself. So here are real life bullies to bully you. Funny how this works. But that's just basic law of attraction. It's not that these people are doing something to you. You just have to ask yourself, where am I bullying myself? And if you really examine it, I'm sure you will find something, some area about yourself where you are bullying yourself. Or something that you are insecure about. Or something that you don't like about yourself. Something that you wish that was different about yourself. Maybe I need to make a video about this, like just being different or having a different kind of brain, because there are reasons for why we are the way that we are. And law of attraction has a lot to do with that too. And the way this universe is set up has a lot to do with that too. It's on purpose. You're not really supposed to like try to get rid of these things. Like, you know, for a while I was really scared of like talking about stuff like this and about the law of attraction and all that, because I thought, you know, this is crazy, this is woo-woo, no one's gonna get this. And then there's a lot of reasons for why I talk about it now, but I just kind of was like, well, you know, if I'm gonna be an outcast, well, it's not really anything new for me in my life. I know what that's like. So if, you know, like people don't get this or something, so what, I'm just gonna be an outcast again? I've been that, you know, all my life. It's not actually something to be afraid of, because I know what it's like. So and then I was like, if I want to find people who are like me, who are interested in this stuff, then I gotta turn my light on. And yeah, that's gonna annoy people. So, you know, some crazy light like this, it's gonna annoy people who this light is not for, and they are gonna be like, you know, turn this off. But it's not for you. If this annoys you, it's not for you. But the people that this is for, they will know it's for them. They can feel it. You can feel the resonance with, you know, what I'm saying or how I am being. You like this stuff, or you get this stuff, or it's interesting to you. You can't stop watching videos about it. Yeah, the light is for you, you know? But I was like, I need to turn my light on, or otherwise my people, my tribe's not gonna find me. How are they gonna find you if your light is not on? I promise you, there's people looking for you right now. They are looking for the real you, the you that you really are. This is what they're looking for. But your light is off. If you're being a distorted version of you, your light is off. So they can't find you. Law of attraction can't bring you together because your light needs to be on and their light needs to be on, and then you meet up like this. But if their light is on and yours is not, they're not gonna find you. So think about the people who are your people, because I promise you they are out there, even if you don't know them yet. These people are out there. They're looking for you. They wish that they would have you in their life. Like really, they do. So what are you doing with all these people that don't understand your light if you were to turn it on? You're just out here in the dark and it doesn't feel very nice. So how about you just turn on your light so you can meet up with people who actually want to see that and experience that, and who are looking for you. They're looking for you. Think about that. Don't think about the people who don't get your light. So that's another reason for, me to talk about the things that I talk about, because I'm like, I care about that more than I care about the people who don't get this stuff. Because I know that there's people who do, who are looking for this. So then it's just a matter of time for us to meet up, because my light is on. My light is on. So I hope that this has been helpful to you somehow. If you're still here, what a long ass video. But I hope that this has been helpful to you in some kind of way, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.